Hi, this is Belinda Calibriali and this is Talking High Performance with Belle. So I'm making this podcast for people who want to live their best life, people who know that there's more in them, but they just don't know how to get it. So there's a gap, something's missing, I'm making it for them. Hi, welcome to episode 1 of Talking High Performance with Belle. I'm really excited to have you here and to see where this journey takes us. When I was thinking about how to start this podcast, I thought the best way to start is to share a little bit about me. So you may not know a lot about me, or you may know, some information already. So I thought we'd just go over the basics first and start the ball from there. So the first story that I want to talk to you about today is the story about my family and the story about having 4 young children. And when I had babies 3 and 4 who were twins, my other children were 2.5 and 5, and I had postnatal depression, and it was marked as quite severe, and I didn't quite know how to navigate it. And, the story that I was telling myself was, life's too busy now. I'm not going to have time. How do I manage 4 young children? My daughter had just started prep. So, there were a lot of things going through my mind, and it was the story that I was telling myself that hindered my progress initially, but also that helped me get out of that. And when you're going through a tough time and it's hard to see clear, it's really hard to work out how you're going to get out on the other end. And through a lot of, mindset work, a lot of performance work, I was able to do that. And moving forward, I was able to create some changes that, that hopefully help you and resonate with you in maybe something that you're going through yourself at the moment. And when we're going through hard times, and this is one of the things that really helped me, the first thing that I had to reframe my story into was that not that life's too busy, that I'm capable, that, things happen for a reason. I was so blessed to have these 4 beautiful, healthy children. I'm capable of taking the next step with them. I'm capable of helping them succeed. I'm capable of creating a new life that aligns with us. So that was, a big rephrase for me that helped me determine the outcome of my story. The second thing I had to tell myself was that, I'm just going to have to be more prepared. So, I was always pretty prepared before, but this required a whole new level of preparation. It required, scheduling and timing and being quite rigid with my schedule, which, if you know me, I'm quite rigid anyway, but this required me to up it a little bit, which was, fun for those around me, but, it worked for us. And the third one is that I'm resilient. So this is the most important thing. And I think sometimes we need to break down in order to be put back together. And, what postnatal taught me was that I'm really resilient. I had I'd always had a respect for women that had gone through it. I didn't really know much about it, but, going through the process, knowing how hard it was to get through, I realized that, I'm really resilient. And, my kids, I feel that there's nothing that we can't face because, we've faced that together. And as we were going through the process, it was quite hard, on my husband, and, decisions that I were making sometimes weren't ideal, but, together we came through it on the other end better and stronger. And he gave me the space that I needed while still, pulling me into line when I needed to be. So I realized that, I'm really resilient. And so when I look back now on my story, I don't look at it of one of, oh gosh, I had this and it was terrible. I look back at it and go, you know what? Thank God that happened, because me on the other side is a whole lot better than the me before. So I've shared a little bit about me. So now let's talk about you. So we all have stories that we tell ourselves. One's about who we are and what we're capable of. And these can hinder us or they can help us in business and in life. And these are often the difference between success and failure. And if we believe that we can't succeed, like I've never met someone that goes, I can't succeed. And then you see them, top 100 in Forbes or doing really well. It just doesn't happen. Whereas if you go, yes, I can succeed, and I have that belief, sure, it might take a little bit of time, but absolutely you can get there. And I want to share today, and I want you to think about in your life, how does this play out? So how does the story that you're telling yourself, how is it holding you back? So maybe I'll talk about 3 different areas and you can go, yep, Belle, nailed that area, really, really good. Or there might be an area that resonates where you go, you know what, I feel like the story that I'm telling myself there could be a little bit better. So the first story that we tell ourselves is that we can't do it. So it's about our dream or our idea not working. And often this isn't so much about the story, it's about the courage that it takes to try, the courage that it takes to put yourself out there. And when we talk courage and we talk courage in high performance, we talk about three things that often hold us back. And the first one is, what are we going to lose if we pursue this dream? So are our relationships going to change? If I all of a sudden want to become really ambitious and go for this goal, am I going to lose friends in the workplace? Am I going to have less time with my family? Like, what am I going to lose? Is the commitment too big? And am I prepared to do that? So, if you think about your life, is there anything that you fear that you're going to lose if you try and pursue this dream? The second one is, what is the process going to be like? So is the process going to be worth it? So when we talk about going to achieve a goal, or we talk about transitioning into a different role, or even, having kids or having a second or third child, or in my case, a fourth, is the process worth it? So we may be someone that's, already struggling to become pregnant. Is the process worth it? Do I want to go through IVF? How many attempts is it going to take? Am I going to get the outcome I desire? Is the process too hard, or is the process something that you go, no, you know what? I'm positive, I'm optimistic, some things are out of my control, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And then the third one is the outcome what I thought it would be, which is, is the grass greener on the other side? And depending who you talk to really, I think, impacts this process. So, you'll talk to some people that go, yeah, just go for it. It's great. Give it your best shot. You talk to other people that are a bit more conservative that go, oh, you know what, you've got a really good job now, and, you're not happy in your relationship, but, you don't know who you're going to meet next. So, and you just stay for it because you don't feel like that process is actually worth the pain. So that's the first thing. And, can we achieve that dream? Can we achieve that goal? And they're the three areas when we talk about courage that we need to think about and lean into and go, yes, is the fear going to be too much? Is the process going to be worth it? Is the outcome going to be what I desire? So that's the first thing. And I think the second thing we tell ourselves is that, are we good enough for the task at hand? So there may be other people that are doing the role that you feel better than you. And yes, that may be the case. They may be doing it for a decade longer than you, but does that mean that you're not going to be successful? No, it just means that you're going to have to work your butt off, and you're going to have to try, and you have to do it according to, your truths and your beliefs and what you want to do. Do you need to parent the same way as, Jane down the road? No, you can do it your way, and you can still have a really great family, and you can do it, while working or whilst not working, depending on what your beliefs are and what story you're telling yourself and what your dreams and aspirations are. So that's a really important one. And then the third one is comparing ourselves to others. So, we don't need to follow everybody else. We don't need to be doing what they do just because that's what's always been done. That might not feel right for you. You might not want to be, for use of a better word, in the box. You might want to be out of the box. For me personally, I'm not that interested in being in the box. I want to think differently, feel differently. And, if you've people with, multiple kids feel like they can't do certain things, that's okay. I'm not that person. I want to go, no, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's this. But I feel like I can do it. So they're often the things that we tell ourselves. And these, this dictates the outcome of what we feel could happen. So if you relate to that story, which I definitely do, let me tell you another story. And this one's about my professional life instead of my personal life this time. So it's about my transition into coaching. And, having run 2 large stores previously for close to 2 decades, there was always a level of coaching and training that I was doing, but I felt like there was a ceiling that I was reaching, and I couldn't impact in the way that I wanted to anymore. And having gone through the whole coaching process and realizing the difference that it made in myself, I was really, really motivated and really inspired to help as many people as I could and to create changes, whether that be personally, whether that be for businesses, for organizations. I really wanted to create that change. But there were certain stories that, I was told, or certain stories that I even let dictate my thoughts that could have prevented me from living the life that I'm living now. And, I'll give you a couple of examples of these stories, and I'll also let you know how I flipped my mindset around that, just to go, you know what, yeah, maybe you have a valid point, or maybe I don't feel like that point's valid, but this is how I'm going to flip it to help me mentally and more positively move forward. So, a couple of the stories I was told is that because I was a mum of four young kids, that I just needed to stay at home, or I just needed to settle. Like, my businesses were doing well. The money came quite easily to a point. But, and I was told, just be comfortable. You need to think about their schooling. You need to think about this. You need to think about that. And yes, I'm not saying those people were wrong. But, I wasn't interested in just staying there and feeling unfulfilled and not feeling satisfied just because, I had a family. And, I knew that I had the underlying belief, and the story I told myself was, you know what, Belle, it's going to be hard. Absolutely. But I had the belief that I'd done it before. I'd done it with 2 businesses. I'd done it not even knowing how to run a business and pretty much winging my way through the first few years. And some arguing probably that I still did towards the end. But going, I've got the belief. I had the belief then, and I've got the belief now. If not, I've got the belief more now because I'm older, and I'd like to say wiser, but I'm older definitely. And so, I felt like I could give it a go. I could give it a crack. And, if it worked, amazing. And, I knew that I would put in the effort to get it to work. But if it didn't, at least I didn't fail trying. So that was the first flip that I had to do. The second one was that I was told by some people, everyone wants to be a coach. There's so many coaches. You can be a coach of shoe sizes if you wanted to. So the space is saturated and you won't make it. So if anything, I think these are just motivators for me to go, you know what? If you say I can't, you watch me. So guess what? I told myself the optical space is saturated as well. And I managed to have one of the top stores in the country. So that was, if anything, that really forced me to really positively change my story and feel really passionate about it. And then another one was that I was told by someone in the industry, you can't do it all. She said, I've been doing it for over a decade. It's hard. You won't make it. Well, guess what? I don't compare myself and my prioritization skills to others, because I know that, sure, it's going to be hard. There's going to be, fails along the way. But I know that, doing it all or having certain strengths or delegating where necessary is really, really important. So I was able to flip that and go, no, maybe I can do it all, unlikely, but I'll delegate and I'll have a great team around me like I did in my previous jobs to go, okay, this is your strength. Maybe you can focus on this. I might need help here. I'm going to call in that specialist person, and together I'm going to make it work. So these are all ways to that I was able to change my story and change the outcome so that I felt really passionate and really motivated by it, and really willing to give it a good crack. So what I learned from my experiences is that it's really important to rephrase your story, the story that you're telling yourself, sometimes even the story that you're hearing from other people. And a lot of the time it's not even intentional in what they're saying, but we make it intentional in our thoughts and we put it at the forefront of our mind. And, sometimes when things are good or when they're bad, it's a great opportunity. It's an opportunity to go, you know what? We all have a story to tell. You've got an amazing story, one that maybe, you're proud to talk about, or one that maybe you're not. Or you could even be too afraid to share it. So, my postnatal story, for a long, long time, I was too afraid to share that story. My transitioning into coaching story, and those stories those little pointers that you've just heard, I've never shared those. I've never, put them out anywhere. And it's these stories and these experiences they have that really have an impact to really change our lives moving forward and to be a really large predictor of our success. And I think it's really time that, have a think about your story and think about how can I use it as a motivator to drive me forward. And, next time you're thinking about telling yourself a story, choose the underlying message wisely and just make sure it's one that's going to help you on your way to a fulfilled life. And I think that's where the real change occurs. So there you have it. Episode 1 done and dusted. Tried not to put too many of my terrible jokes in there. I'll save them for episode 2. Keep you hanging on. But until next time, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life every day. Your coach, Belle.